Our selection will be Hallelujah, Salvation and Glory.
The oracles of the UCI, 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication, and all uncleanness, or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear, than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth, therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us, which is right in the midst of our holy days of Tabernacles, which is a full week. And praise Yahweh, we have had a wonderful time in keeping each one of these days. I know we have family and family members who are, not close to us. They're spread all the way out, but we are putting together some pics and some videos so that they can see some of the things that we have been doing all of this week. We have to, consider the importance of what, this week is and what it represents. The things that are important to Yahweh, those things have to be of importance to us if we're going to be servants to him. So we have to make sure that we rearrange our priority list so that the things that are important unto Yahweh become important unto us. Otherwise, we start doing those things in different ways, in ways that they then become not pleasing unto Yahweh. Our forefathers were keeping holy days. They were doing those things. They had new moons, Sabbaths, they had their feasts. But because we didn't walk in righteousness, he said, even the solemn meeting is iniquity unto me. Your holy days mean absolutely nothing. Why? Because you did them however you wanted to do them. And we have to be careful that these things don't become so regular to us that we then start to put our personal things ahead of Yahweh's holy days. When we consider the days and the times that we have, Yahweh gives you a whole year, just like he gives you within the week of the Sabbath. You have 6 days to do whatever you want to do. The Sabbath is his. So everything that you decide to reappropriate and put on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day, you are now showing disdain unto him. He gave you 6 days that was all yours. He didn't tell you nothing you had to do on them days. That's your day. You do what you got to do. But when it comes to my day, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And that's what the holy days are. Those belong to him. Those don't belong to us. So we have to consider how we go about doing things, lest we offer up unto Yahweh a blemished offering. And any offering that has a blemish in it, it will not be accepted unto Yahweh. That was the same in the natural case, and that is the same in the spiritual case. If it is blemished, it is not worthy to be offered unto Yahweh, our Elohim. Now, within one of those days, we had Ask the Priest, where people were able to, email questions, and people who were there could present their questions. And one of the questions was, I thought, a very good question, but there's some questions that are so that it takes a lot more than just a few readings to really get the whole scope of it. And I think it was Harrison Hughes who asked a question about how do you know if you are following the Spirit or if you are listening to your own voice. And I thought it was an impeccable question, but I couldn't spend 2 hours dealing with one question. So we had to move on to some other things, but we're going to get into a few things so that we can kind of explain that, hopefully, in its fullness, because there are several other things that you have to take into consideration when dealing with that. So we're going to begin today's sermon in Ezekiel chapter 28, and we're going to read verses 1 through 18. And today's sermon is Believe Not Every Spirit. See, we have to consider that all spirits don't mean well, but they still have power. And if we are convinced by the power or the feeling of something, then we may be directed by the wrong spirit. See, a lot of times we don't give the adversary, the devil, the credit that he's due as far as the power that he has. When you consider who he is and what position he held, there's no amount of word that can be hid from him. So when you talk about understanding the word, if we all got together and combined our so-called thought processes, none of us would know as much as the adversary. You ain't gonna know as much as him because he was there. He knows the stuff that Yahweh said, don't write that down. There's certain parts of the book where the brothers were told, don't write that down. That's for a different time. They don't need to know that. Lucifer already know. So consider what we're dealing with. You're not dealing with a entity that does not know certain things. He has the understanding of those things. And even just as when we read, the demonic spirits knew who he was. So then you have to consider the demonic spirits know that you are a servant of Yahweh. You have to consider that as you go about, that they know you. Yeshua had to constantly say, close your mouth and come out of him. do not tell these people who I am. Why? Because their flesh wouldn't be able to comprehend the level of what those demons would say. Now consider, why did he do that? See, the demon could have said enough, which would have seemed like information, but the demon could have said enough that would have caused the people to start looking at Yahshua differently. Would they go from not believing him to all of a sudden worshiping him above his Father, which is what you see now? Because people actually treat the Son as if he is the Father. That's what a lot of the doctrine is. So we have to consider those things, and there were supposed to be levels of growth, because at that time, Yahshua did not want everybody to know who he was. It was actually a test to see, do you know who I am? Who do men say that I am? What do you think that I am? That was actually his test to see who had been approved of his Father, to see if you knew. Ezekiel chapter 28, and let's start that at verse 1.
The word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus said the Adonai Yah.
Now, consider these things when you read the prince of Tyrus. There are several things that when you talk about Daniel's prayer, Gabriel end up saying, as soon as your prayer was heard, I was dispatched. But then these other princes, these other demonic forces actually stopped him from coming unto him. And then he had to get help from Michael. And then he says, afterwards, I will then go and fight with the prince of Grecia. So then you understand the demonic things that are being done on the earth, those evil angels are running those things. And then the ones who follow Yahweh have to do everything that they have to do to protect his servants in the midst of that. So then we have to ask ourselves, do we make it harder for the angels of Yah to protect us? Go ahead.
Because your heart is lifted up, and you have said, I am a Elohim.
I am a Elohim. Go ahead.
I sit in the seat of Elohim, in the midst of the seas, yet you are a man, and not Elohim, though you set your heart as the heart of Elohim.
And when you get down to it and read what is prophesied to happen unto the adversary, the devil, he shall be turned into a man. So Yahweh is doing these things in a certain order for a reason, because this is the way that Lucifer has to be punished. An angel has to receive a different punishment because he's not a man. But because Hallel's hatred for flesh was so great, Yahweh is actually going to turn him into the flesh that he hates. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Behold, you art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from you.
So consider how deep this wisdom has to be if you are wiser than Daniel. Go ahead.
With your wisdom and with your understanding, you have gotten you riches and have gotten gold and silver into your treasures. By your great wisdom and your traffic has you increased your riches, and your heart is lifted up because of your riches.
Right, the same thing that happens to us. Sometimes the more money we have, the hardier we become. Because at that point, what I need God for? I can do this on my own. Go ahead.
Therefore, thus said the Adonai Yah, because you have set your heart as the heart of Elohim, behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon you, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of your wisdom, and they shall defile your brightness. They shall bring you down to the pit, and you shall die the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the seas.
Right. All of those who allow themselves to be used as Lucifer or be used by him shall be punished as him. Go ahead.
Will you yet say before him that slayeth you, I am Elohim? But you shall be a man, and no Elohim, in the hand of him that slays you. You shall die the deaths of the uncircumcised by the hand of strangers. For I have spoken it, said the Adonai Yah. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, Thus said the Adonai Yah, You sealeth up the sum, full of wisdom, and perfect in beauty. You have been in Eden, the garden of Elohim. Every precious stone was your covering.
Now, we have to consider now, you have been in Eden in the garden of Elohim. We know that he's going on a whole nother level and not dealing with man, because ain't no man been in the garden of Eden and still is able to abide these words at this time. Go ahead.
The sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of your tabrets and of your pipes was prepared in you in the day that you was created. You are the anointed cherub that covers.
You are the anointed cherub that covers. So when you even deal with what was set as far as the ark, which is Yahweh's seat, this is where Yahweh said, I will come and commune with the children of Israel. Then you have this cherub, these cherubs that cover the mercy seat. Well, then this means then that they are the closest entities to Yahweh. They're the closest one to the seat. Well, now the covering don't want to cover the seat. No, he said, no. I looked at this seat long enough. I want to sit in it. Now I want the power that seat holds now. I'm tired of looking at it. I want to be in it. I'm going to be just like the Most High. Go ahead.
And I've set you so. You was upon the holy mountain of Elohim. You have walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. You was perfect in your ways from the day that you was created, till lawlessness was found in you. By the multitude of your merchandise, they have filled the midst of you with violence, and you have sinned. Therefore I will cast you as profane out of the mountain of Elohim, and I will destroy you, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire.
Now, you have to consider if even being in the garden was a punishment or a redirection, if you will, of Hillel's authority. Because you're starting to covet this seat. I'm creating something new. Won't you go down there and govern it? No, I don't want to go down there. Yeah, but you're looking at this seat too much. Won't you go down there? And you know, just like most children, when you give them a job that they don't want, sometimes they purposely do it wrong, hoping that you'll just say, more the way I'll do it. But if you're going to be a real parent, you got to go ahead and inconvenience yourself to deal with your children. So when they do it wrong, you say, no, well, we're going to sit here until we get it right. Let's do it again. What? No. You done strolled that trash all across the yard and then go get another bag. I'm going to sit right here in this chair and watch you. And get right there on your tablet and sit there. If it take an hour, it take an hour. They're going to learn not to do that mess no more. But if they get away with it, every time you give them a job, they're going to purposely do it wrong. Because you're going to jump right in. Well, the way I'll do it. And they playing you. You might well go ahead and get some strings attached to your arm. Because they're just making you dance. Look at, watch that. Watch I make my mama dance. Watch this. She don't even know I'm making her dance. See? Because she can't be still long enough to let them do it. They know that. And they will use that against you. Go ahead, brother.
You know, we was also talking about sometimes when you do a job long enough, sometimes you got to shift people around. They get complacent thinking nobody else can do that job.
Yes, that is a very good point. And it starts to get that thought process that, Yahweh need me, And if we ever get to that point where we believe that we are irreplaceable, you are in a bad spot. Yahweh was ready to replace the whole Israel with Moshe. He was going to replace 12 tribes of Israel with 12 tribes of Moshe. We don't consider that. There ain't nobody in this that's irreplaceable. We thought because the covenants was made with us and we were in possession of the temple and kingdom that we could, hey, we ain't really got to walk in it like that because it's ours. And that very thought process ended up getting us destroyed. Go ahead.
Verse 17. Your heart was lifted up because of your beauty, and you was corrupted by your, and you have corrupted, your wisdom by reason of your brightness.
Right. Your heart was lifted up because of your beauty, and y'all know when we think we look good, we got a totally different walk. Put some new clothes on a brother, and see how Brother Caleb won him an outfit last night. See, we had Bible trivia, and we had outfits, cultural outfits that brothers and sisters won depending on, how many questions they answered. And that brother, boy, when he put on his garb, I think that brother got 2 inches taller. I said, look at him. Look at him. But see, when we walk in culture, it's supposed to be that way. But then do we do it so much that it then becomes normal, and now we have a different thought process? Sometimes after a while, you look at people who have been in the Word for a while, and you look at how they begin to take some of Yahweh's things as regular. So now his holy days, they holy, but yeah, they've become a little bit more regular now. That's the danger about, getting that complacency in there. Go ahead.
I will cast you to the ground. I will lay you before kings, that they may behold you. You have defiled your sanctuaries by the multitude.
Wait a minute. He got sanctuaries? Go ahead.
You have defiled your sanctuaries by the multitude of your lawlessness.
Right. We learned lawlessness on Sunday morning. That's who taught us how to transgress the Sabbath day. That's who taught us how to keep all of those so-called holidays. That's who taught us those things. We didn't learn those things in the street from some thugs in the back alley. No, we learned that on Sunday morning. That's who taught us those. I didn't know anything about Janus, the two-headed God. I didn't know that until I went to church on watch night. What they said was New Year's, and the question was in my mind automatically, what exactly are we watching for? Why do they call it watch night? Then when you understand who the two-headed God Janus is, you understand that it can only be fully worshipped at midnight on New Year's Eve. Because that's the point in between both years. He looks into the past and into the future. I didn't learn that by no street thugs out in the alley. I didn't learn that in no projects. I learned that in the church. Nobody taught me that except a pastor. Then I had to go find out, where does this come from? Why are we going here on New Year's night? Because what was it? It was supposed to be a substitute for going to the club. Because honestly, New Year's Eve, we would go party and get drunk. So then the church offers us a substitute for going out and partying and getting drunk. But then you openly worshiped another God without your knowledge. They knew it. We'd have been better off at the club getting drunk. Because now you just committed spiritual fornication. Thought you were doing better by going to church, keeping New Year's. You did worse. And just how that twisted understanding is. We walk past the people after we done came from watch night. I know it because I done it. You come from watch night, oh, I've been to church on New Year's. And then you go and look down at the person who just came from the den of iniquity. Look at you, you just came from the club. Silly Negro. They was better off than you. They at least wasn't worshiping no different God. Right. But see, I didn't know that. See, there's some things that Yahweh got to let you walk in so you can know, oh man, I done stepped in it. See, you smell it when you step in it. See, it's something about knowing that, man, there's something out here. But when you step in it, you go, oh my God, I know it's out here now. Oh, here where I step. It's getting closer. It's getting closer. No. It's with you. No, it ain't getting closer. You stepped all in it. You taking it everywhere you go. Then they have to back up and then look at my own actions. Wow. How did I get so haughty that I was looking down at somebody else, didn't know that I was worse off than them? Right. Did you finish that, bro?
Verse 18. I just wanted to say, when we think about what he's talking about here, and you mentioned earlier just underestimating the adversary, we really don't understand what power and what authority he actually has. You think about the conversation with Yahshua when he said, man, all this is given to me. And here Yahweh is saying, you defiled your sanctuaries. So we don't understand how much control he has of what's set forth here. We don't even know what he's in charge of.
Right. And what did he say? All this is given to me, so he didn't take it. And I give it to whom I will. Wait a minute. Huh? Right. I give power and glory and honor and cash. I can give all that to whoever I want. And you know what we turn around and do? Oh, look how much money they got. They are so blessed. God has blessed them. Which God? Which God? Right. That's the question you need to be asking. Who? See? We think any amount of money is blessing. Right. Who blessed them? Because Lucifer didn't offer any stipulations. He said, bow down and worship me and all shall be yours. Yahweh said, obey these commandments and I shall cause all of these blessings to come upon you. Two totally different doctrines. But if somebody going to be like Elohim, then they're offering you a very good replica. So everywhere he puts out his little spirit, there's a replica of what he has set forth. And the question is, have we fallen for the replica? Have you walked in somewhere proud, wearing a finely crafted replica? And you feel real good until somebody point out, you know, a real Rolex don't tick like that. You know that, right? What? Yeah, that's a Folex. That's not a Rolex. That's not. Yeah, real ones don't tick. Now you done spent all this money. You done walked around showing everybody your own. Let me see what time it is. We think we got something. We don't just look at the watch. It got to go out and back in. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what time it is. Yeah. You see that? Yeah. And you done did all that with a Folex. Now, what do you do on the day that you realize you got a Folex? Do you still keep lying and walking in it? Or do you get rid of it? Or have you developed an emotional attachment to your Folex? Right. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 14. Eli, you're looking at me like you got one of them at the house. You're looking like you got, man, got Folex right now. I need to get rid of, man. I've been meaning to get rid of that thing, man. It's hard when you don't put some money into it. You realize later, man, I put diamonds in a fake watch, man. It's even worse when you put more money into something that's fake. You know what I'm saying? You got diamonds on a ticker. Isaiah 14, and let's start this we're going to read verses 12 through 21.
How are you fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How are you cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nation?
How are you falling from heaven? This is supposed to be your place of authority. And now, if he has to do another job here, then he wants to be worshipped as Elohim. So what's the best way to do that? Let's present a different doctrine that is like the doctrine of Elohim, but not quite. And if we make the replica good enough, nobody will know. There are fake paintings that you have to get an expert to be able to tell that it's not the real thing. That's how good some of the fakers are. That they're so good that there are tons of people who will never be able to tell the difference of whether or not this thing is authentic or not. Have we been and exercised ourselves in the word enough that we can tell a finely crafted fake? Or does it grab you and emotion takes you off to Never Never Land? Go ahead.
For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I'll exalt my throne above the stars of Elohim. I'll sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I'll ascend above the heights of the clouds. I'll be like the Most High.
I'm going to be just like Yahweh. See? So it's no coincidence that the adversary has taught his people, as soon as you die, you're going to immediately go to heaven. Why? Because that's what their daddy want to do. He don't want to be and deal with being in Eden. He don't want to deal with being on earth. He don't want to deal with that. No, I want to be where I was. So then he teaches his people the same thing. As soon as you die, you're gonna go to heaven. So he has given them the same doctrine that he has. And they have no idea where it comes from. When what happened with Lazarus and his sister, they said, Lazarus shall rise again. Now, these were followers of Yahshua in his day. The sister said, oh, I know he's going to rise again in the resurrection at the last day. She never thought her brother was going to heaven. Now, how is it that people who walked with Yahshua understood him, was able to touch him in the flesh? None of them thought they were going to heaven. But everybody on Sunday morning believed that they're going to heaven. Now, how is it the people who were with him didn't believe it? But everybody do today. Where that doctrine come from? Came from the adversary of the devil. Because that doctrine didn't come out this book. The most popular verse of all time, John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. Yeah. Back up 3 verses. No man has ascended unto heaven but he that came down from heaven. Yet we think everybody in our family is in heaven. 3 verses away from the most popular verse of all time. You know what kind of strong delusion you got to have to not back up 3 verses? Go ahead.
Yet you shall be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see you shall narrowly look upon you, and consider you, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms?
Right. Is this the man? You hated flesh so much. In the process of your punishment, I'm going to turn you into that which you hate. You have so much indignation against flesh. Guess what you about to be? Go ahead.
That made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house.
All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house. When you start talking about and reading the judgment upon Babylon, which of course the adversary, the devil, uses to promote all of his evil things. When it talks about everyone in his own house, that's everybody going back to their own land. Understand, America ain't our land. Remember, we was brought here against our will. So we got some people that never have even considered, you ain't going to be here. You were forcefully brought here. Matter of fact, we the only people here who were forcefully brought here. The other people made that trip on their own. We didn't make this trip on our own. Everyone in his own house. That is his own land. So at the judgment of Babylon, everybody go back where they came from. Go ahead.
But you are cast out of your grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pits, as a carcass trodden under feet. You shall not be joined with them in burial, because you have destroyed your land and slain your people.
He got people. He got sanctuaries. He got land. What did he say? What did he say to Yahshua? All these things are given unto me, and I give them to whom I will. Go ahead.
The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. Prepare slaughter for his children.
Wait a minute, he got children. What did Yahshua say about the Pharisees? Now, these were supposed to be priests of Israel. So when people get into all that, well, you know, he talking about the Gentile. No. He's talking about the very 12 tribes of Israel, the same people who say, oh, we call them anointed of Yahweh. What did Yahshua say? You are of your father, the devil, and the works of your father you will do. These are priests that he said that about. These supposed to be the honorable people. And he said, you are of your father, the devil. Now, how do you pick which one of them is your father? See, you are deciding whether or not you are a son of Elohim or a son of the adversary, the devil, based on your actions. Don't matter what your mouth say. You can claim Yah all you want. You can say his name all day. And you got people who say, well, the name don't matter. He has many names. Then the same people will turn around and say hallelujah. Why you say that? That's the highest praise. Why? Because there's only one guy's name in it. What's the problem? See, a lot of us are choosing some things, not understanding what it is we're choosing. Go ahead.
Prepare slaughter for his children for the lawlessness of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities.
All right, let's go to 1 Kings chapter 22. First Kings chapter 22, and let's read verses 20 through 23.
And Yahweh said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead?
Right, who's going to persuade this individual to go up and lead an army and go and fall? Go ahead.
And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner.
Right, so then these spirits are communing amongst themselves how they can get this person to be led into a place where they will fall, because it's time for their punishment. Go ahead.
And there came forth a spirit, and stood before Yahweh, and said, I'll persuade him. And Yahweh said unto him, wherewith?
How you gonna do it? Go ahead.
And he said, I'll go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets.
Now, his prophets, if they prophesy lies, then they're going to lead him into doing some things that he ought not to do, which will then cause him to fall. Go ahead.
And he said, you shall persuade him, and prevail also. Go forth, and do so.
So then you have to consider, where does this lying spirit come from? Because before, the other people are having a conversation, these other angels are having, all right, we'll do it on this manner, or we'll do it on that manner. Now I'll go. I can lead him. How you gonna do it? Oh, I'm a lie. Who told you how to lie? Who? This book says, when Lucifer tells a lie, he tells his own. For he is the maker of a lie. So if Lucifer made up lying, who taught you this? Oh, I've been hanging out with Lou. Oh, so he done taught you some tricks. Go ahead.
Now therefore, behold, Yahweh has put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these your prophets, and Yahweh hath spoken evil concerning you.
So now you have this spirit, this demonic spirit that is going to lead this entire group of people in error. Let's go to 1 John chapter 4. See, we have to consider how much damage one angel can do.
13:24.
Because understand, it's not just Ahab. He says, in the mouth of all your prophets, that is going to lead you to gather all your people to then go up and fall. This is one lying spirit. But he's telling lies everywhere. You know? Consider all the people who are then getting misled by one lying spirit. One. The one that stands before Yahweh and say, I'll do it. I know I can persuade him. Give me a shot. 1 John chapter 4, and let's read verses 1 through 6.
Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of Elohim, because many false prophets are gone out into the world.
Right. See, when you have to be careful. See, the question that the brother had asked, how do you know that you're following, that you're being directed by the Spirit? And how do you know you're not listening to your own voice? So now we have, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of Elohim. We're going to read some things later on that will help explain that. Go ahead.
Hereby know you the spirit of Elohim. Every spirit that confesses that Yahshua the Mashiach is come in the flesh is of Elohim.
Now, consider this now. People say, okay, so if they confess that Yahshua is the Mashiach, they are of Elohim. Well, they have to confess according to the doctrine that's written. See, people think that's easy. All they got to do is say Yahshua. Or to people who don't know no better, they say all they got to do is say Jesus. Well, read his doctrine. And then when they start talking, see if their doctrine matches his doctrine. Then you know if they confess him or not. See, it's not as simple as this one line. It still entails that you got to do some work. Because you have to have read enough to know something sounds strange about that word. Wait a minute. Something sounds strange about that right there, what you're doing. When a sister sent me a video of her baptism, and the so-called moray is standing on the outside of the water. So well, wait a minute. Let's go back in the word and see if anybody else was baptized that way. And I can't find none of that in the word. Well, somebody was standing outside the water where the person baptized themselves. What is the purpose of having a priest there if he ain't gonna do nothing? The book says Yahshua baptized not, but his disciples. They did it in his name. He didn't have to. But as you start reading this word, some of this other stuff should be bothering your spirit. Wait a minute. Something don't feel right about this. Let me go back into the book. But if you have already entertained a different spirit, when you go in the book, you ain't going to see it. Go ahead, bro.
I just wanted to say, even, when you're out there and you have a conversation with people.
Hold on, bro. Can you please turn on that Omni mic? Go ahead.
Now, when you're out there conversating with people, they'll say, well, my pastor said.
Uh-huh.
That's what a lot of people like to say, well, my pastor said. Well, that don't really mean.
Right. That is the $1 million question, my brother. What does, and I've had to stop people when they were going into, well, my pastor said, I said, well, what does Yeshua say? What did the Father Elohim say? What did he say? Do you know what he says about this subject instead of what your pastor says about this subject? And if those two things are not the same, you might want to ditch that thing that your pastor said. Because see, you have different doctrines where Yahweh and Yeshua has come out talking about these commandments. I've heard a pastor say, don't even worry about trying to keep the Big Ten, because you ain't going to be able to do it. What? That goes completely against what the Old and the New Testament says. But what do people listen to? They listen to their pastor. But that does not coincide with what's written in the book. You judge the Spirit by the Spirit. The Word is a spirit. But do you read it with your own understanding already there? Do you read it already seeing what you want to see? Then that's going to be a problem. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And every spirit that confesses not that Yahshua the Mashiach is come in the flesh is not of Elohim.
Right. When they offer a different doctrine, those are antichrists. I don't care how sweet the doctrine sounds. Go ahead.
This is that spirit of Antichrist. Wherefore you have heard that it should come, and even now already is in the world. You are of Elohim, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world.
Right, but you got to know that. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. You got to know that so you can fight it. But if you don't understand that, then there are going to be some issues. Go ahead.
They are of the world, therefore speak they of the world, and the world hears them.
Right. So people want to know, how is it that, other places have, these really big congregations and they say such and such, they are of the world and the world hear them. They hear that doctrine, they respond to that doctrine because they are of the worldly. Go ahead.
We are of Elohim. And he that knows Elohim hears us.
Right. Only the people who are approved to hear this word is going to hear it. You can talk all you want. You can go everywhere. You can go from here to Timbuktu. But the only people that going to hear the word is the people that Yahweh has allowed to hear the word. You can keep on talking. You can put the word in a song and dance. You can put it in a poem. You can do you some little Hebrew puppet shows. You can do all that. If Yahweh has not called them to hear, guess what? They are not going to hear until that time that he is appointed for them to hear. That don't mean you don't do your job, though. That's not what that means. Several times Yahweh has said, go and talk to them, but they're not going to hear you. But go and talk to them. They're not going to hear you, though, but go and talk to them. So why are you going to send me on a failed mission? Shut up, boy. Do what I tell you to do. Go and talk to them. But they're not going to hear you, though. See, most of us just stop right there. Well, they're not going to hear me. Ain't no need of me going. Well, now, you have lost your salvation now. Because you ain't follow your instructions. Don't worry about who going to hear. That ain't your job. Speak the word. Who going to hear? That's his job. Let him do his job. He's very capable of doing his job. You ain't never drove a forklift. Don't just jump on the forklift. You don't know what you're doing. Get off the forklift before you kill yourself and somebody else. That ain't your job. You do your job, let him do his job. Go ahead.
He that is not of Elohim hears not us. Hereby know we the spirit of truth and the spirit of error.
Now, so then there's a spirit of truth and there's a spirit of error. Now we have to understand or try to figure out which spirit are we dealing with. I understand you have to look at how fine that line is. Understand, Yehudas Iscariot was amongst the 12, but he was entertained by a spirit of error. But he's right amongst, he is amongst the son of Elohim, and all of these disciples. Yet he has a totally different spirit guiding him than the spirit that's guiding the rest of them. And even he himself didn't understand it. He said, there's a betrayer in my midst. And they all said, well, who is it? Who is it? He didn't even know it was him. Understand how fine that line is. And it says afterwards, he came to himself. He came to himself because the evil spirit left. The evil spirit was done. All right, I've used your flesh for all that I need to use it for. I'm gone. Then it says, and he came to himself, then he hung himself. You ever wonder why he didn't hang himself before? Not a spirit in control. At any point, think about it. Everybody knows in the midst of a robbery that they robbing something. But imagine somebody who just wake up in the middle of the bank with a gun in their hand and a bag of money. How give? Uh-oh. Bad situation. He was not in control of himself when that demon came upon him until the demon was finished. All right, well, I done did my job now. I'm out. Then he tried to give back the money. The same money that he has agreed to betray the man for, now he's trying to give it back. And they said, man, we can't take that blood money. So now he has remorse. What's the difference? That spirit left. So we have to consider, what things do we do that might open us up to entertain one of those spirits? Let's go to Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24. And let's read verses 20 through 24.
Verse 20. But pray you that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Shabbat day.
Now, if all the law was nailed to the cross and the Sabbath is no longer, why is Yeshua saying about final judgment? Understand what this is. This is not something that he's talking about now that has something to do with now. He's talking about final judgment, and he's still talking about the Sabbath day. Pray that your flight be not on the Sabbath day. Yeah, but I thought the Sabbath is going to be nailed to the cross. But we're talking about final judgment. He's still talking about the Sabbath day. And people telling you, well, the Sabbath is, all days are holy. That's what TD said. All days are holy. Monday holy, Tuesday holy, Wednesday holy. Man, you can't rest on every day. If you rest on every day, you lazy. You're supposed to work 6 days and then rest on the 7th. If you rest every day, you got some serious issues. So what you resting for? You ain't done nothing. Well, every day is a rest day. You either hit the lotto or you lazy. Something going on now. Because I can't figure out what you need to rest for every day. But Yeshua is talking about final judgment, and he's still talking about the Sabbath. See, when Yeshua changes something, he goes, what did Yahweh say? I don't change anything unless I don't do nothing until I tell my servants, the prophets, first. Now here it is. The earth and the fullness therein belongs to him. But he says, I don't do nothing until I tell my servants. He abides by his own rules. Go ahead.
Verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
For you, those days shall be shortened, if we prove ourselves to be of the elect. Go ahead.
Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here's the Mashiach, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Mashiachs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
So this lets you know just how powerful that deception is going to be. If it were possible, this stuff is going to be so good that it is going to deceive the very elect. So if we're getting food already, oh, we're going to have some problems in a minute. Because they're about to be able to present some stuff to you that looks so good, sounds so good, feel so good. You're going to swear, oh man, he has come in the flesh. They've been working on some stuff. And if you ain't got your heart right, they will deceive the very elect if it were possible. That's how good this deception is. Consider something. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2.
1270.
All right. Second Thessalonians chapter 2, and we're going to read verses 1 through 12.
Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Adonai Yahshua the Mashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that you be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of the Mashiach is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin shall be revealed, the son of perdition.
And that great falling away has been in the midst of happening for quite some time, because we have fallen away from sound doctrine. Understand, we can read in Acts 13, the first Gentiles who first heard the word heard it on the Sabbath day. Now go and say something about the Sabbath day and watch how much controversy stirs up. Man, these people understood this 2,000 years ago. Now we're talking about something that they readily understood 2,000 years ago, and all of a sudden, it is now a debate. What? That was normal stuff. The Gentiles asked, could this word be spoken unto us the next Sabbath day? Now we have people saying the Sabbath means nothing. So in 2,000 years, we have fallen away so strongly. You got organizations who got 50 different branches and not one of them is baptized. What? That's like word 101. I mean, not a leader, not the elder, not nobody. But they out spouting the word on every corner, and not one of them have been cleansed. Strong falling away. Go ahead.
Verse 4, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worship, so that he as Elohim sits in the temple of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim.
Right. So what we are have been taught to run away from the priesthood. The Pope is getting ready to sit in the temple that they have orchestrated for him, and he's going to sit in your place of power and tell everybody that he you. Because you don't walk away from your place of power because people done told you that the priesthood has been done away with. The Catholics been talking about the priesthood since day one. But now we ashamed to claim priests because what they doing to them little boys in the back room. They ain't got nothing to do with us. Just because somebody deal with something evil or they deal with something in the wrong manner doesn't mean that you didn't throw out the baby with the bathwater. But what I find interesting is how selective we are with that. See, when it comes to certain things, we'll throw the whole thing away because, yeah, it's got a bad stigma. All right. Let somebody say something bad about the job. You notice they still go to work because they getting that check. Yeah, man, I can't stand them. The whole time they still on their way to work. Yeah, boy, there's a mess. There ain't nothing but mess. I tell you, boy. And that John, oh, he's old dirty boss. Oh, he dirty. Where you at? I'm on my way to work. I find that utterly interesting. How we can selectively do that. But when it comes to the word, oh, that's got a bad stigma. Oh, that's interesting because your job got a bad stigma and you there at 7:59. You ain't supposed to be there at 8. You there at 7:59 every day. Right. Interesting. Go ahead.
Remember you not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of lawlessness does already work. Only he who now lets will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Adonai shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming.
Right. That word is going to proceed out of his mouth, and righteous judgment is going to be done by the word. Understand, the word was made flesh. So when the word speaks the word, you're talking about righteous judgment. Go ahead.
Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders.
Right. So then we see who has given them. Lucifer said, all this is given unto me, and I give it to whom I will. Understand that the Vatican is about the size of a mall. And it is the richest per square inch of the world. The richest place in the world is the size of a mall. And every last one of them have a diplomatic immunity, which is why none of them get prosecuted, though they have molested children all over the earth. You ever consider that? They're not just molesting children here in the United States. They're molesting children in every place they are. Yet they are not able to be prosecuted. Why? Because the popes made a little backdoor deal during a certain time. I can't remember who I can't remember the ruler, or it was during one of those world wars. They end up making a little backdoor deal that gave them sovereignty. And they set up some people to do it. But once they got sovereignty, they got nation status in a place that is the size of a mall. So once they get acclimated or set up as a priest, they got diplomatic cards. So they go all over the world, which gives them a license to do evil. So now you can't lock them up. You have to talk to their embassy, which is the church, who never agrees that they should be prosecuted for what they've done to the children. Go ahead, bro.
No, just to add to that, they actually send them wherever they get convicted of with that crime, with that sin, excuse me. They actually send them to another part of the world, or
right,
another area, where nobody has no idea that they've done such things.
Right, because they will not publish that they have already been. You think about it. Most people, if they do something wrong, they have to get on one of those databases for people who do wrong things to children. Not the Catholic priests. They don't tell them. They're not able to find out. So basically, they're hiding the pervs. So they say, you have done wrong. You done got caught messing with all them children. Where were you, in Spain? Okay, we'll send you in England this time. Stop it. But here go a bunch of children right here. What? Right. So while we're walking away from the priesthood, they have taken your priesthood and turned it into something absolutely horrible. But why not? They done convinced you to walk away from it. They done convinced you that it don't exist. How easy is it to take something from somebody who don't even know it exists? If you got $1 million hid in your basement and somebody tell you, oh, don't worry about it, they already done came and took it. So you don't go back to your house, and then they go back to the house and dig it up and get your $1 million. They won by deception. Because you didn't even go look for it. They won by default. Go ahead.
Verse 10. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved.
Mm-hmm.
And for this cause Elohim shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie.
Right. If you walk in something so long, your punishment actually becomes that thing. Because now he gives you strong delusion that you actually believe the lie is the truth. Go and talk to somebody who's been in the Word, who have been in the church for 20 years. And watch how they fight everything that you present to them. The delusion is so strong. But then you come inside the Word and find out that there are different branches and areas of the truth. Start talking to some of them and watch how much they fight you. Strong delusion. Go ahead.
That they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness.
And had pleasure in unrighteousness. Let's go to 2 Samuel. Before we go there, are you guys still on that graphic? Go back to that graphic. Can you go back to the strong delusion graphic? Okay, when you consider right there, there's this thing where it says holograms and Project Bluebeam. What these things are is how they can present graphics and things in the sky. So whatever your doctrine is, they have the ability to project that in the sky, meaning that the people who believe Jesus gonna come back, they'll have a Joel Osteen looking dude come out the sky with the prettiest smile you ever want to see in your life. And they're gonna be like, oh, Jesus done came back. It's time for us to do such and such and such and such. But then you got the other people who believe, they don't believe in any word. They say, oh, the Martians have come. They can produce that for you too. So for all you little green men people, they got something set up for you. And check this out. They test everything on us. The biggest test that we ever heard of was a concert with Tupac, where he was performing by hologram. And the people were amazed. But see, that's what they do. Everything that they do, they test it out in the hood. Take it out in the hood, let's see if it works. So Tupac, dead as a doornail, but the hologram got him on stage. How do you want it? It's Tupac. They say, oh yeah, we got it now. We got it. If we can get the hood, we can get everybody else. Once they presented Tupac in hologram and they got all us, I mean, folks were amazed. That was a low-level hologram compared to that one that they're going to have come out that sky. So if you are grabbed by these little natural things or things that seem a certain way, oh, they about to have their way with you. They about to have their way. They got some technology that we can't even begin to think about. Understand something. By the time the technology make it to the movies, that's that old stuff. That's the stuff that they like, all right, well, we'll let them know about it. Because we done moved on to something else. So we'll let them see our old stuff. But don't think you're seeing the new stuff. Did you finish that, brother?
Yes.
Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 22. Second Samuel chapter 22, and let's read verses 21 through 27.
Yahweh rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands, has he recompensed me. For I have kept the ways of Yahweh, and have not wickedly departed from my Elohim. For all his judgments were before me, and as for his statutes, I did not depart from them. I was also upright before him, and have kept myself from mine lawlessness. Therefore Yahweh has recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to my cleanness in his eyesight. With the merciful you will show yourself merciful, and with the upright man you will show yourself upright. With the pure you will show yourself pure, and with the froward you will show yourself unsavory.
So then how Yahweh appears unto us is determined by where our heart is. So the forward receive a really forward vision of Yahweh and believe that they are in the right state with him. But because their heart ain't right, he ain't going to show himself right unto them. Read the definition for forward.
H6141 Ikesh from H6140, distorted, hence false, crooked, froward, perverse.
Now consider, everything that is forward in the spirit doesn't appear that way naturally. See, some of the rebels are the nicest looking people you ever gonna set your eyes on. They nice, they sound sweet, they just not gonna do nothing Yahweh said do. But they sound absolutely amazing. They speak to you every time they see you. They're just not gonna do anything Yahweh said. Yahweh said do one thing, you look, they doing something else. Yahweh said remember the Sabbath to keep it holy, they out partying on the Sabbath. Yahweh said he got holy days, take out some other days. But they just as nice. But they're not gonna follow any instructions. Yahweh said do the holy days this way. They said no, we're gonna do it this way over here. Right. But when you look at them, they're nice. And the word that they present to you seems so friendly and accepting of all. Right. But it's not Yahweh's doctrine. It's their own. So this whole idea that we have about rebels, we're going to have to reevaluate what we think a rebel is, because we think the rebels are these loud, hollering people who act this way. And let me tell you something, you're going to get some of them mistaken. Because some of those people are the servants of Yahweh trying to get the rebels to turn. So you look at a loud, hollering brother, and you think he's a rebel. No, that's the one that's trying to force you off your position. The rebel was that one smiling at you, telling you that everything you're doing is okay. That was the rebel. So this thing is going to get interesting the further we get into and the closer we get to the redemption of the children of Israel. Let's go to Job chapter 1. Job chapter 1, and let's read verses 9 through 16.
Verse 9. Then Satan answered Yahweh and says, does Job fear Elohim for naught? Have not you made an hedge about him and about his house and about all that he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land.
So then Satan understands who Job is, and he understands that there is a hedge around about him and his house. He understands that this is a protected man of Yahweh. Go ahead.
But put forth your hand now, and touch all that he has, and he will curse you to your face. And Yahweh said unto Satan, behold, all that he has is in your power, only upon himself put not forth your hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of Yah. And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job, and said, the oxen were plowing and the asses feeding beside them. And the Sabaeans fell upon them, and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell you. While he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, the fire of Elohim is fallen from heaven, and has burnt up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them. And I only am escaped alone to tell you.
Now, consider, All of the people that watched and saw this said that it was the fire of Elohim. Yahweh had given the power in the hand of the adversary, the devil, that says, all right, you can do what you got to do, but save his life. So what the people thought came from Elohim came from Hallel. That came from the adversary, the devil. So right off the rip, we see that some things are not always easily understood as far as which spirit did that come from? Because they're walking around saying, Elohim did this. No, that was Lucifer. But see, we see something come out of the sky, we say, oh, that must be God. Must it? Consider. See, those are some of those things that we have to take into consideration. Let's go to Judges chapter 6. Judges chapter 6. And we're going to start that at verse 11.
And there came an angel of Yah, and sat under an oak which was in Ophrah, that pertained unto Joash the Abiezrite, and his son Gideon threshed wheat by the winepress, to hide it from the Midianites. And the angel of Yahweh appeared unto him, and said unto him, Yahweh is with you, you mighty one of valor. And Gideon said unto him, O my Adonai, if Yahweh be with us, why then is all this befallen us? And where be all his miracles which our fathers told us of, saying, Did not Yahweh bring us up from Egypt? But now Yahweh has forsaken us, and delivered us into the hand of the Midianites. And Yahweh looked upon him, and said, Go in this your might, and you shall save Yisrael from the hand of the Midianites. Have not I sent you? And he said unto him, O my Adonai, wherewith shall I save Yisrael? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house. And Yahweh said unto him, Surely I will be with you, and you shall smite the Midianites as one man. And he said unto him, If now I have found grace in your sight, then show me a sign that you talketh with me. Depart not hence, I pray you, until I come unto you, and bring forth my present, and set it before you. And he said, I will tarry until you come again. And Gideon went in, and made ready a kid, and unleavened cakes of an ephah of flour. The flesh he put in a basket, and he put the broth in a pot, and brought it out unto him under the oak, and presented it.
So then he is presenting a present unto Yahweh. He is making sure that he doesn't come empty before royalty. Only if our people understood that. And what that means, it means you can't just come any old kind of way. You can't just put on any old kind of thing and go before Yahweh and think that he's going to accept you. Go ahead.
And the angel of Elohim said unto him, Take the flesh and the unleavened cakes, and lay them upon this rock, and pour out the broth. And he did so. Then the angel of Yahweh put forth the end of the staff that was in his hand, and touched the flesh and the unleavened cakes, and there rose up fire out of the rock, and consumed the flesh and the unleavened cakes. Then the angel of Yahweh departed out of his sight.
And when you consider those offerings and what ends up happening, there's portions that end up being given to the priests for them to eat, and there's portions that has to be burned fully on Yahweh's altar. So when you deal with these ones that are burnt, and these miracles or these signs where the things are completely consumed, that is a symbol of Yahweh accepting the offering. That part Yahweh consumes. He consumes with the fire. So things are not just happening just to be happening. They mean something. Go ahead, bro. Brother Benaiah, come in for a second, please. Banana. I have to say which Benaiah I'm talking about. Go ahead, bro.
And when Gideon perceived that he was an angel of Yahweh, Gideon said, Alas, O Adonai, for because I have seen an angel of Yahweh face to face. And Yahweh said unto him, Peace be unto you. Fear not, you shall not die. Then Gideon built an altar there unto Yahweh, and called it Yahweh Shalom. Unto this day it is yet an Ophrah of the Abiezrites.
And under priest of this congregation. Go ahead.
Judges chapter 6 and verse 25. And it came to pass the same night that Yahweh said unto him, Take your father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that your father has, and cut down the grove that is by it. And build an altar unto Yahweh your Elohim upon the top of this rock, in the ordered place. And take the second bullock, and offer a burnt sacrifice with the wood of the grove which you shall cut down. Then Gideon took 10 men of his servants, and did as Yahweh had said unto him. And so it was, because he feared his father's household, and the men of the city, that he could not do it by day, that he did it by night. Verse 28. And when the men of the city arose early in the morning, behold, the altar of Baal was cast down, and the grove was cut down that was by it. And the second bullock was offered upon the altar that was built. And they said one to another, Who has done this thing? And when they inquired and asked, they said, Gideon, the son of Joash, has done this thing. Then the men of the city said unto Joash, Bring out your son, that he may die, because he has cast down the altar of Baal, and because he has cut down the grove that was by it. And Joash said unto all that stood against him, Will you plead for Baal? Will you save him? He that will plead for him, let him be put to death while it is yet morning. If he be a god, let him plead for himself, because one has cast down his altar.
Right, and Yahweh has said, don't have any of these groves near my altar. I remember going into church and seeing a grove, which is a Christmas tree, sitting right by the altar. They got decorated Christmas trees right in there. They don't understand those groves. Go ahead.
Therefore that day he called Jerubbaal, saying, Let Baal plead against him, because he has thrown down his altar. Then all the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east were gathered together, and went over and pitched in the valley of Jezreel. But the Spirit of Yahweh came upon Gideon, and he blew a trumpet, and Abiezer was gathered after him. And he sent messengers throughout all Manasseh, who also was gathered after him. And he sent messengers unto Asher, and unto Zebulun, and unto Naphtali, and they came up to meet them. And Gideon said unto Elohim, If you will save Israel by my hand, as you have said, behold, I'll put a fleece of wool in the floor. And if the dew be on the fleece only, and it be dry upon all the earth side, then shall I know that you will save Israel by my hand, as you have said.
So to make sure that he's hearing or he's seeing the right things, he said, look, show me something. So I ain't just going on my own understanding of what I think it is. Show me this thing right here. Go ahead.
And it was so. For he arose up early on the morning, and thrust the fleece together, and wringed the dew out of the fleece, a bowl full of water. And Gideon said unto Elohim, Let not your anger be hot against me, and I'll speak but this once. Let me prove, I pray you, but this once with the fleece. Let it now be dry only upon the fleece, and upon all the ground let there be dew.
So that wasn't enough fun. Show me something else. See, because I need to make sure I'm doing the right thing here. Show me one more thing. Okay, now let the opposite happen. Go ahead.
And Elohim did so that night, for it was dry upon the fleece only, and there was dew on all the ground.
Right. So then now we have, okay, now I can fully walk in this thing because I know that it's not a figment of my imagination. Let's go to our 1 Kings chapter 13. You know, like I've said before, the mind is very strong. See, we have not really understood the power of the mind, that we have the ability to play tricks on ourselves. And we used to do it all the time with them groves. When we used to go through and see them Christmas tree lights, and we get that little euphoric feeling, we felt like it was so holy. That was a feeling that you created in yourself. That's how strong the mind is. That not only was it controlled or created in your mind, it then affected the rest of your body. I remember getting chills from it. Every time it got near Christmas time, we would drive around to all of the houses that were well lit with all their Christmas decorations. And the more knowledge I got, the less it started giving me that euphoric feeling. And sometimes people think something is happening to them, or I'm losing my feeling. No. You're actually gaining spirit. I remember I used to go to church every Sunday and cry every week. Then I got to the point where I stopped crying, and I'm like, what's wrong with me? No, actually, that was when I started growing. Because see, you have to have an emotional display when you don't know nothing. But when you start learning something, there's something else. There's more substance to your worship other than crying all the doggone time. But when you don't know nothing, you need an emotional display. But when you start having something solid to hold on to, you ain't got to cry every day. So here it is. I thought something was wrong with me. That was the beginning of my growth. But I'm wondering, have I lost my spirit? What? Why I ain't crying no more? What's wrong with me? Took me a minute to figure that out. 1 Kings chapter 13. Let's start at verse 1.
And behold, there came a man of Elohim out of Yehudah by the word of Yahweh unto Bethel. And Jeroboam stood by the altar to burn incense. And he cried against the altar in the word of Yahweh, and said, O altar, altar, thus said Yahweh, behold, a child shall be born unto the house of David, Uzziah by name, and upon you shall he offer the priest of the high places that burn incense upon you, and men's bones shall be burnt upon you. And he gave a sign the same day, saying, This is the sign which Yahweh had spoken, behold, the altar shall be rent, and the ashes that are upon it shall be poured out. And it came to pass, when King Jeroboam heard the saying of the man of Elohim, which had cried against the altar in Bethel, that he put forth his hand from the altar, saying, Lay hold on him. And his hand, which he put forth against him, dried up, so that he could not pull it in again to him. The altar also was rent, and the ashes poured out from the altar, according to the sign which the man of Elohim had given by the word of Yah. And the king answered and said unto the man of Elohim, Entreat now the face of Yahweh your Elohim, and pray for me, that my hand may be restored me again. And the man of Elohim besought Yahweh, and the king's hand was restored him again, and became as it was before. And the king said unto the man of Elohim, Come home with me, and refresh yourself, and I'll give you a reward. And the man of Elohim said unto the king, If you will give me half your house, I will not go in with you, neither will I eat bread nor drink water in this place. For so was it charged me by the word of Yahweh, saying, Eat not bread, nor drink water, nor turn again by the same way that you cometh.
Those were the instructions that was given. Go ahead.
So he went another way, and returned not by the way that he came to Bethel. Now there dwelt an old prophet in Bethel.
Right. And first thing that people like to do is, okay, well, this person is older, so they must have, a lot more understanding. But we have to even understand in a natural sense. There's people that are old naturally, and then there are people that are old in the word. So you might see somebody who is very well aged in their natural age, but they've only been in the word about 3-4 years. Then you might see somebody who's 30, but that person been in the word 15 years. Their spiritual age is actually older than the person who's of gray hair age. So you got a natural age and a spiritual age. Go ahead.
Now, even in this situation, where he went to the altar, said what Yahweh told him to say. But then there's a point of speaking too much. Did Yahweh tell you this other part about why you're not going to eat bread and all this?
Right. That ain't everybody's business. See? Your instructions was your instructions. But when you tell people your instructions, it gives people the opportunity to give you another version. Now you just kept your mouth closed and just left. All right, I did what I was supposed to do. Now let me go on about my business. See, then they would have had to figure out how to lie to you. But because we keep talking, now you've given the people an opportunity or the know-how of how to deceive you. Go ahead.
Verse 11. Now there dwelt an old prophet in Bethel, and his sons came and told him all the works that the man of Elohim had done that day in Bethel, the words which he had spoken unto the king, them they told also to their father. And their father said unto them, What way went he? For his sons had seen what way the man of Elohim went, which came from Yehudah. And he said unto his sons, Saddle me the ass. So they saddled him the ass, and he rode thereon, and went after the man of Elohim, and found him sitting under an oak. And he said unto him, Are you the man of Elohim that camest from Yehudah? And he said, I am. Then he said unto him, Come home with me, and eat bread. And he said, I may not return with you, nor go in with you, neither will I eat bread nor drink water with you in this place. For it was said to me by the word of Yahweh, You shall not eat no bread nor drink water there, nor turn again to go by the way that you came in.
Right, repeating his instructions again. Go ahead.
He said unto him, I am a prophet also as you are. And an angel spake unto me by the word of Yahweh, saying, Bring him back with you into your house, that he may eat bread and drink water. But he lied unto him.
Right. So here we have a situation. Okay, Yahweh showed you something. Well, let me wait to see if he showed me. So we can all be on one accord. So this is what happened when we believe anything that's told unto us. I'm a prophet too. Well, congratulations. Congratulations. But your instructions go against mine. So which one am I going to follow? Go ahead.
So he went back with him, and did eat bread in his house, and drank water.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass, as they sat at the table, that the word of Yahweh came unto the prophet that brought him back.
The lying prophet now. Now the lying prophet is about to speak truth. Now he's actually about to be used by Yahweh. Go ahead.
And he cried unto the man of Elohim that came from Yehudah, saying, Thus said the Yahweh, For as much as you have disobeyed the mouth of Yahweh, and have not kept the commandment which Yahweh your Elohim commanded you, but came back, and have eaten bread and drunk water in the place of the which Yahweh did say to you, Eat no bread and drink no water, your carcass shall not come onto the sepulchre of your fathers.
Right. So the very one who lied to him, Yahweh then uses his mouth to pronounce judgment against him. So the one who said, I'm a prophet, and Yahweh told me to tell you to come on here. But those weren't Yahweh's words, those were his words. But then after he did something, now here come Yahweh's real words. Oh, you gonna die? Go ahead.
And it came to pass, after he had eaten bread, and after he had drunk, that he saddled for him the ass, to wit, for the prophet whom he had brought back. And when he was gone, a lion met him by the way, and slew him, and his carcass was cast in the way, and the ass stood by it. The lion also stood by the carcass.
Mm-hmm.
And behold, men passed by, and saw the carcass cast in the way, and the lion standing by the carcass. And they came and told it in the city where the old prophet dwelt. And when the prophet that brought him back from the way heard thereof, he said, It is the man of Elohim who was disobedient unto the word of Yah.
Check this out. The one who lied to him is the one who's saying, oh yeah, that's the man of Elohim who was disobedient. You mean the one who listened to you? Yeah, that one. That's his carcass. That's why he dead. Because he didn't listen to Yahweh. Oh, because he listened to you. Go ahead.
Therefore Yahweh has delivered him unto the lion, which has torn him and slain him, according to the word of Yahweh, which he spake unto him. And he spake to his sons, saying, Saddle me the ass. And they saddled him. And he went and found his carcass cast in the way, and the ass and the lion standing by the carcass. The lion had not eaten the carcass, nor torn the ass.
Right. So you have to already see how strange that is, that he just killed him. He didn't eat him. And then with the ass standing there, the lion could have ate that too. Lion didn't touch that. So no. I'm going to check that out. The dumb animal followed Yahweh's instruction. Oh, just kill him. Don't tear him up. I need everybody to recognize who he is. Just tear him up a little bit so he died. But they're going to be able to look at him. Yep, that's him. That's the same guy that was coming here. Matter of fact, that's the ass he was on right there. Right. Just leave them all sitting right there. So everybody going to be able to see who it is and why this has happened to him. Disobedience. See, you can't follow part of Yahweh's word. See, when Yahweh said, go in and kill everything that breathes, didn't he come back? Saul says, I have obeyed the commandment of Yahweh. My brother said, well, what's the lowing of the sheep that I hear? Because he said kill everything that breathes. Why I still hear sheep? Oh, well, they have saved them to make an offering unto Yahweh. Oh, so you had a better plan than what the plan that was given unto you. So why is this person still alive? Well, I thought, right, you didn't follow your instructions. See, we have to consider what these things mean. When we even consider this week, what Tabernacles is, it is representative of this millennial kingdom, this 1,000-year reign of the Mashiach. Now, we got 7 days in that week. Consider what those days mean. It is said that within that kingdom, a child shall die at 100 years old. First of all, 100 years old should be a child? Yeah, because it's a 1,000-year reign, and you should live 1,000 years. So if you died at 100, that was something you did. You can't blame it on that adversary, the devil, because he locked up. So whatever sin that is, that's going to be you. So if each one of these days are a foreshadowing of this millennial kingdom, you have to consider what each day is representative of. That's about 100-something years. So when we go through our days of tabernacling, did we miss some days? Do you understand what that means within that kingdom? That means spiritually you're walking away from about 150 of them years that you're supposed to be living. That's how important these days are. Now, did you miss them because we're in the daughter of Babylon and you didn't have any opportunity to be there? Or did you have some personal stuff that took up your time that you wasn't able to keep those days? Something altogether different. See, Yahweh knows the intents and desires of man's heart. Remember, King David didn't actually build a temple. He just desired to. That was enough for Yahweh. He had the right desire in his heart. Go ahead, bro.
1 Kings chapter 13 and verse 29. And the prophet took up the carcass of the man of Elohim, and laid it upon the ass, and brought it back. And the old prophet came to the city to mourn and to bury him. And he laid his carcass in his own grave, and they mourned over him, saying, Alas, my brother. And it came to pass, after he had buried him, that he spake to his sons, saying, When I am dead, then bury me in the sepulchre wherein the man of Elohim is buried. Lay my bones beside his bones.
I mean, why not? You got him killed. I mean, why not? See, do we consider that when we do things that blood then becomes on our hands for the innocent people who are slaved from the things that we okay? Let's say somebody teaches a false doctrine. You okay that doctrine. You have justified wickedness. We think we've justified wickedness one time. See, we have a great advantage with the internet, and we also have a great disadvantage. Let's say 300,000 people watch that live. Guess how many sins you have just gotten unto yourself? Your lie done went platinum. You got a platinum plaque of lying. Congratulations, 1 million people have listened to that lie that you told. If they keep playing it, you keep lying. Don't think you just lied one time. That ain't how the internet works. See, we haven't considered that. And when you justify somebody else's lie, you now got a part of that. So it never does consider people. Folks who stay off the internet got small problems because you ain't posted your lies. Like, look, I told one lie. You tell one lie and people keep reposting it, you have just gone platinum. You done told 1 million lies. You're like, I ain't tell but one. Yeah, but other people kept telling the lie that you told. And they retold the lie. And they reposted the lie. All them lies account unto you. Right. See, we ain't considered that. And here you go justifying somebody. Now they fall because they said, well, this brother or this sister said it was good. Now they fall. Guess what? You got blood on your hands. Your hands ain't clean just because you didn't fall. Everybody you persuaded to fall is on your hand. I can't teach some foul doctrine and think I'm okay. When it come through and I done made a mistake, I got to back up. Hey, such and such and such and such, I said such and such. That was wrong. Please forgive me. I got to go fix that. I can't leave that out there. We have to consider that. He said if the blind lead the blind, they both going to be in the ditch. Not just the blind leader is in the ditch. The blind follower is in the ditch as well. They don't get some kind of excuse to get out of the ditch. Well, you know what, Yahweh, I was following him and I didn't know he was blind. I didn't know that. I just got in the car. He didn't tell me he was blind. I thought he could see. He had an Uber on the front. Hell, he was an Uber driver. I didn't know they let blind people drive for Uber. I didn't know that. They don't just pull you out of the ditch. No, you got in a blind Uber driver's car. You in the ditch too. Go ahead, bro.
You know, even in this situation, just a slight twist is what was used just to get him off. Because his prophecy already came through that he prophesied. So you got to think about what was the old prophet gaining by doing that. He just got this man off of his job.
Well, you consider something. Yahweh said, I'm going to leave all these other nations among you to see if you're going to serve me or not. See, some people don't know that there are various doctrines out here that Yahweh has left them there to test you. He going to see what you're going to do so that you might know the intents of your heart. Yahweh already know what's in your heart. He don't need to be proven what's in your heart. You need to know what's in there. Because, see, we have this enormously wonderful view of ourselves. Sometimes, we look in the mirror, we be like, oh, my God, that's a handsome fella there. Good God. Oh, my God. I would date him. Yes, I would. But do you see yourself like other people see you? Or do you just see what you want to see? Yeah, you look good to you. You might even look righteous to you. What do you look like to Yahweh? Because that's only one's view who count. Don't nobody else's view count. What I think about you don't count. What somebody else think about you don't count. What does Yahweh think about you? That's the only thing that counts. I ain't got no back door I can slide you in. Ain't no hookup. Priest, look, when you get in the kingdom, go around the back gate. Let a brother in. I can't let no brother in. I ain't got no key. I'm be trying to take care of myself. I'm trying to make sure I get in there. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 32. For the saying which he cried by the word of Yahweh against the altar in Bethel, and against all the houses of the high places which are in the cities of Samaria, shall surely come to pass. After this thing, Jeroboam returned not from his evil way, but made again of the lowest of the people priest of the high places.
And this is why we learn false doctrine to this day. The lowest of the people are made teachers. They just don't call themselves priests today. The lowest of the people are made teachers. And they teach all manner of strange doctrine. And we love to have it so. Because it sounds so easy. You ain't got to change nothing. You can do whatever. God knows my heart. Right. Go ahead.
Whosoever would, he consecrated him, and he became one of the priests of the high places.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing became sin unto the house of Jeroboam, even to cut it off, and to destroy it from off the face of the earth.
All right, let's go to Judges chapter 13. It became sin unto his house. Why? Because he presented something that made people fall. You cannot present things that make other people fall and think that you are standing in the right place. Anything you present, even if the thing that you presented was good, if they fail with it, you are held responsible. You have part responsibility in their fall. See, there was times when my elder would be talking and a younger person in the word would come up and he would just stop. And I'd look at him. Why he stopped talking? He knew that person couldn't handle what was being said. I didn't get that right away. So it might be 2 hours later. The person hang out with us. We all sitting back there in the lion's den, that we call his office. We all back there in the lion's den. We just talking. Hours go by. The younger people in the word leave. And the old man start back talking on a conversation that was going on 2 hours ago. And it throw you. He goes right back to the exact sentence that he left off from 2 hours ago. And you try to figure out, did we just change channels? What? We was on channel 8. And then we just went over here. Right. The old man is going back to where he was before because now everybody in the room can handle this level of the discussion. Didn't get that right away. Took me a minute to figure, because first I'm thinking, I think the old man's senile or something. I think the old man kind of crazy. Old man was on his game. Old man knew, if I say this is a young brother gonna get killed. Let me not say this while this little young brother in here. What? Right. There's some things that me and kids talk about that y'all ain't never gonna hear on there. Cause I don't know who listening. I don't know if it's a 5-year-old on the other end of that webcam or a 35-year-old. I can't see on the other side of this broadcast. So there's some people that call and ask questions that I can deal with one-on-one. There's some things you ain't never gonna hear come across here. And you can go and watch all my other classes. You can dig up every one you found. You ain't gonna hear what I heard. Cause I didn't ask that stuff in class. And he wasn't gonna answer it in class. Go ahead, brother.
Judges chapter 13 and verse 1. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of Yahweh, and Yahweh delivered them into the hand of the Philistines 40 years.
So you understand one thing about being Israel. Israel was created to be a servant. This is your purpose, Israel. Choose you who you're going to serve. You're either going to serve Yahweh or you're going to serve your enemies. This is why it's constant captivities for us. This is why the people come past all kind of seas to come get you. You were created for servitude, but you were created for righteous servitude. You wasn't just created to mop floors and clean walls and plant other people's fruit. That's not what you were created for. You were created to serve Yahweh your Elohim. That is a righteous servitude. It is the best servitude on the face of this earth. That's what you were created for. But because you were created to be a servant, if you don't serve him, you're still going to fulfill your purpose. You are going to serve one way or another. So choose you how you are going to serve. You going to serve in wickedness? Are you going to serve with rigor? Or you going to serve Yahweh your Elohim? And only you can make that choice. Can't nobody make that for you. Go ahead, brother.
A lot of brothers and sisters don't understand out there that we do.
I'm sorry, brother. Please turn on the mic. He speak with his nighttime. He got that nighttime voice. You are not talking to Athalia, brother. You know what I'm saying? I need you to speak with your daytime voice. Go ahead.
No, I was saying what a lot our brothers and sisters out there don't understand is that we have, as a nation of people, we have an adoption.
Mm-hmm.
We have an inheritance, and all this, all the deceivers out there that work for Lucifer, they block us from knowing that adoption and being able to take part in that inheritance that's written for us.
Hey man, if the adversary can convince you to walk away, man, that's the easiest fight to win. Why do you think in games or in boxing matches or in UFC matches, the people are running off at the mouth? What do you think that is? They said Michael Jordan, one of the best who ever played the game. Do you also know that he was one of the best talkers in the game? He played against your spirit. Karl Malone, they call him the mailman. He was messing with him in one of them title matches, telling him, you know what the day is? You know what the day is? As he messing with him, you know what the day is? The day Sunday. Mailman don't deliver on Sunday. Boom! Messing with his head. He wasn't just playing against him physically. He was playing against him mentally. And if you get the people to lose in their mind, they done already lost the rest of it. You might well stop. Because you already gone up here. This is what a battle is. And if you give up here, because I done lost 5 times, get back up. But I lost again. Get back up. But I done lost 12 times in a row. Get back up. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 2. And there was a certain man of Zorah, of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren, and bare not. And the angel of Yahweh appeared unto the woman, and said unto her, Behold now, you are barren, and beareth not, but you shall conceive, and bear a son. Now therefore beware, I pray you, and drink not wine nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. For, lo, you shall conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head. For the child shall be a Nazarite unto Elohim from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines.
Right, now this angel has come and told this woman all these things. Go ahead.
Then the woman came and told her husband, saying, A man of Elohim came unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of Elohim, very terrible. But I asked him not whence he was, neither told he me his name.
Right. So then automatically the thing that was revealed unto the woman then revealed unto her husband. Go ahead.
But he said unto him, Behold, you shall conceive and bear a son.
He said unto me, go ahead.
Pardon me, but he said unto me, Behold, you shall conceive and bear a son, and now drink no wine nor strong drink, neither eat any unclean thing, for the child shall be a Nazarite to Elohim from the womb to the day of his death. Then Manoah entreated Yahweh and said, O my Elohim, O my Adonai, let the man of Elohim which you did send come again unto us, and teach us what we shall do unto the child that shall be born.
Right. So now he asked, give me the same instructions that you gave the woman so that my house will be on one accord. Go ahead.
And Elohim hearkened to the voice of Manoah. And the angel of Elohim came again unto the woman.
The angel still came to the woman. Go ahead.
As she sat in the field. But Manoah, her husband, was not with her. And the woman made haste and ran and showed her husband.
Stop. The woman left the man of Elohim there. Let me go get my husband. Now, would everybody do that?
My husband ain't here. Keep talking, angel. No, let me hear that. I need all the holiness. I ain't got time to be worried about him. I don't know where he at anyway. I don't know where he at.
Some people use it as upper hand. He talking to me.
Right, he ain't come talk to you. He ain't talking to you, talking to me. I'm the holy one in this family. You better believe that.
Right. But she ran to go get her husband. So that, hey, let us be on one accord. You see the kind of problems it could cause? If Yahweh is saying, you need to be a Nazarite, this child is going to be a Nazarite from birth. So don't drink any wine. Then the child can't drink no wine. Don't cut his hair. Now imagine the fight that could be if the daddy say, well, no, I want him to have a nice little box fade. You know what I'm saying? Let's cut off the sides. You know what I'm saying? We're just going to trim the top. No, Yahweh said he's supposed to be a Nazarite, so the razor shall not touch his head. Do you understand what kind of fight that would be in that house? Because the woman got one direction and the man got another one. Now they fighting over the child's haircut, not knowing that it's connected to him being holy. But what happened if they're not on the same accord? Now you got disruption in the house. Go ahead.
And the woman made haste and ran and showed her husband and said unto him, Behold, the man has appeared unto me that came unto me the other day. And Manoah arose and went after his wife and came to the man.
Okay, stop, because I got to deal with brothers on this. Do you stop what you're doing when the woman come to you and say, look, I saw the man again?
Well, look, I'm in the process of building this table right now. I ain't got time to be dealing with. Ask the angel if he can come back on Tuesday.
Right. Let's see if that work out for you. Go ahead.
And Manoah arose and went after his wife and came to the man and said unto him, Are you the man that spake unto the woman? And he said, I am. And Manoah said, Now let your words come to pass. How shall we order the child, and how shall we do unto him?
So that we may be on one accord. I need to hear the instructions that you gave to her. Go ahead.
And the angel of Yahweh said unto Manoah, Of all that I said unto the woman, let her beware. She may not eat of anything that comes of the vine, neither let her drink wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing. All that I commanded her, let her observe. And Manoah said unto the angel of Yahweh, I pray you, let us detain you, until we shall have made ready a kid for you. And the angel of Yahweh said unto Manoah, Though you detain me, I will not eat of your bread. And if you will offer a burnt offering, you must offer it unto Yahweh. For Manoah knew not that he was an angel of Yahweh.
Now, the woman said that his countenance was very terrible. Yet Manoah don't know he talking to an angel. The woman was able to see something that he was not able to see. That's because he showed something to the woman that he didn't show to the man. Read.
And Manoah said unto the angel of Yahweh, What is your name? That when your sayings come to pass, we may do you honor. And the angel of Yahweh said unto him, Why ask you thus after my name, seeing it is secret?
In other words, he said, none of your business what my name is. Ain't none of your business. Yet folk go and get their little book of Enoch, and they got about 50 different angels' name in it. Angel said, ain't none of your business what my name is. My name's secret. Because the angel know how feeble man is, because we'll be around there worshiping. We worship all kind of stuff, poles with serpents on them. Right. No, I'm not telling you. Go ahead.
So Manoah took a kid with a meat offering, and offered it upon a rock unto Yahweh. And the angel did wondrously, and Manoah and his wife looked on. For it came to pass, when the flame went up toward heaven from off the altar, that the angel of Yahweh ascended in the flame of the altar. And Manoah and his wife looked on it, and fell on their faces to the ground. But the angel of Yahweh did no more appear to Manoah and to his wife.
Right. They did no more appear, but why? Because they did what they needed to do. He has said what he needed to say. You don't get constant direction to just continually do. Look, here go your instruction. Follow them instructions to the day you die. I ain't finna keep coming back to you every time. Oh, yeah, okay, so now turn left. No, I already gave you them instructions. Follow the instructions. You don't need to keep coming to them telling them the same thing. Let's go to Matthew chapter 1. And once again, we see the power of that fire consuming the offering again. So when some things are, as as we say, when we burn up some meat, we say, make mine Cajun.
Yeah, burn that thing all the way up. Burn it.
Right. Those are Yahweh's. Burn that one. That's his. Matthew chapter 1, and let's read verses 18 through 25.
Now the birth of Yahshua the Mashiach was on this wise. When as his mother Miriam was exposed to Yosef, before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Spirit. Then Yosef, her husband, being a just man.
Being a just man, this is a man seeking after righteousness. Go ahead.
And not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privately.
Right, because he thinks now the woman has slept with somebody else and has gotten pregnant during the time that he was engaged to her. So he was minded to put her away privately, because if he did it and everybody knew it, they were going to stone her to death. Now, some of us would just be mad because she done got pregnant and you ain't been in that tent. So we show up with the rock.
Here go the rock right here. I want you to hit her with this one right here. It's real sharp on the end. Because she pregnant and I ain't been in the tent. So hit him with that one first, please. Thank you.
Right. Him being a just man, believing his woman has slept with somebody else, he like, I ain't gonna even tell. I just want out of the situation. Go ahead.
But while he thought on these
I'm
things,
sorry, he thought. How much of that do we do? How much of that do we meditate on something before we just do it? Go ahead.
behold, the angel of the Adonai appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Yosef, you son of Dawid, fear not to take unto you Miriam your wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Spirit.
So now, the same one that gives her direction also brings the direction to him so that their house is not out of order. Otherwise, this woman finna be a single parent. It's hard to explain to somebody, oh, I'm pregnant by the Holy Ghost. Well, you let the Holy Ghost take care of it then. How about that? I hope the Holy Ghost pays light bills, because I'm out. Somebody gonna have to tell me something. Go ahead.
And she shall bring forth a son, and you shall call his name Yahshua, for he shall save his people from their sins. Now all this was done, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Adonai by the prophet, saying, Behold, a virgin shall be with child.
Now, you got all kind of Hebrew Israelites that do not believe that this is even possible. They swear Joseph was the daddy. So you got to be careful who you listen to. You got to talk to these people long enough to find out what are their other doctrines. And see, before we find that out, we already justifying people posting things on the internet, and other people are looking at your posts, and they look at your posts and say, well, you've agreed with the person. They must be good. Then you go down their other doctrines and be like, wait a minute, you think Joseph was the daddy? The book says before they came together, but you think he really, the book must have lied. Because they feel like, according to their own mind, the only way a woman can get pregnant is if a man slept with her. Well, how was the first man born then? Right. Go ahead, bro.
And shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is Elohim with us. Then Yosef, being raised from sleep, did as the angel of the Adonai had bidden him, and took unto him his wife, and knew her not.
I'm sorry, what?
And knew her not.
To biblically know somebody. See, I may know you, but I don't know you. You know what I'm talking about? When somebody biblically know you, he knew her not, okay? Until. Now, Christianity makes Mary a perpetual virgin. That ain't right either. See, so you got totally different doctrines floating around. Now she a virgin forever. Wait a minute, man. She got other children. She's still a virgin. Like, oh, the Virgin Mary. Hey, man, she wasn't a virgin forever. Go ahead.
And knew her not till she had brought forth her firstborn son.
I'm sorry. He said knew her not when?
Until she brought forth.
Until. Not he knew her not ever. So you got one lie that's all the way over to the left. You got another lie that's all the way off to the right. Both of them lies. See, the adversary, the devil, will present all kind of options for you. He gives you a multiple choice of false doctrine. Choose whichever one suits you. He don't care. You're going to be led astray either way. He don't care which one you choose. He developed all of them. So you can choose lie A, lie B, lie C. It don't matter. As long as you follow a lie and don't follow the truth. That's all he care about. So people following one religion over another religion, Lucifer like they both my lies. So they all end up being his children in the end. And they still going against each other. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to 1 Kings. Go ahead, brother. What you got?
Even in this
1 Kings 18.
Even in this whole thing, certain things were still not taken away from Joseph, because it said, you shall name him.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the end it said, he named him.
That's the power given unto a father. See, in this land, and especially in the slave state of Georgia, the only people who have rights to the child, and this is Georgia law, is the mother and the slave master. Yeah. See, that's what people don't know. So if you have a child out of wedlock, if you are not married, the man has zero rights to that child. Do you realize that a man can be paying child support and still can't see his child? And people don't understand that when they sign that little paper. When they come down there and they get you down there and they start talking all that stuff, there's a reason why that child support office might not have but one dude in there. It's all women, and they all working for the same cause, to get money for that female without giving any rights to that man. And they already know the setup. But once you sign it, now it goes outside of family law. Now contract law takes over, because now you just entered into a contract. Once you signed it, whether that child is, you ain't got a paternity test. It doesn't matter anymore whether or not that child is yours. You sign that piece of paper. You are now going to pay for 18 years. Yeah, but I don't get to see my child. That's your problem. You should have thought about that before you put your signature on this piece of paper. You have now signed that you're going to pay for 18 years. Now make sure she get her money, or we're going to come see you. Yeah, but I just found out the child ain't mine. Hey, it. Go ahead, bro. Say again? Yes, 24 years. If they continue to go to school, and that's what, especially the people who got money, they learn, all their kids go to college. You ain't never noticed that? The rich people, that's why their kids you going to school. But mama, I don't want to go to college. The check stops if you stop going to school. Well, what school we going to, mama? Yeah, there it is. They realize that that's where that bread keep coming in. Right. That's a game. So we have to understand there's so many things that the daughter of Babylon owes us. When you talk about restoration, they couldn't even begin to offer us reparations. They don't have enough money here. And I know this is supposed to be like one of the richest places around. They don't have enough money to pay you yet. Just wait. Because first of all, their money ain't no good. It's about to go down anyway. And you don't want a whole bunch of this. Because you just going to have a whole bunch of paper tissue. That's all you can do. That's all you're going to have with this stuff here. But your reparations going to come from her mom. Wait. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 18, and let's start at verse 1.
And it came to pass after many days that the word of Yahweh came unto Elijah in the 3rd year, saying, Go, show yourself unto Ahab, and I'll send rain upon the earth. And Elijah went to show himself unto Ahab, and there was a sore famine in Samaria. And Ahab called Obadiah, which was the governor of his house. Now Obadiah feared Yahweh greatly. For it was so, when Jezebel cut off the prophets of Yahweh, that Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50 in a cave and fed them with bread and water. And Ahab said unto Obadiah, Go into the land, unto all fountains of water, and unto all brooks. Peradventure we may find grass to save the horses and mules alive, that we lose not all the beasts. So they divided the land between them to pass throughout it. Ahab went one way by himself, and Obadiah went another way by himself. And as Obadiah was in the way, behold, Elijah met him, and he knew him, and fell on his face, and said, Art you that my master Elijah? And he answered him, I am. Go, tell your master, behold, Elijah is here. And he said, What have I sinned, that you would deliver your servant into the hand of Ahab, to slay me? As Yahweh your Elohim lives, there is no nation or kingdom, whether my master has not sent to seek you. And when they said, He's not there, he took an oath of the kingdom and nation that they found you not. And now you say, Go tell your master, behold, Elijah is here. And it shall come to pass, as soon as I am gone from you, that the Spirit of Yahweh shall carry you whither, I know not. And so when I come and tell Ahab, and he cannot find you, he shall slay me. But I, your servant, fear Yahweh from my youth.
Right. So you start to see Elijah, because he executes righteous judgment and he speaks what thus says Yahweh, he is then an enemy unto the powerful evil people of the world. But we want to be friends of the world. We got a problem. Go ahead.
Was it not told my master what I did when Jezebel slew the prophets of Yahweh, how I hid 100 men of Yahweh's prophets by 50 in a cave, and fed them with bread and water? And now you say, Go, tell your master, behold, Elijah is here, and he shall slay me. And Elijah said, As Yahweh of hosts lives, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself unto him today. So Obadiah went to meet Ahab, and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah. And it came to pass, when Ahab saw Elijah, that Ahab said unto him, Are you he that troubles Israel?
Check this out. Ahab said unto him, Are you he that troubles Israel? So the one who speaks the truth is labeled as a troublemaker. Right. Right. Go ahead.
And he said, I have not troubled Israel, but you and your father's house, in that you have forsaken the commandments of Yahweh, and you have followed Baalim. Now therefore send, and gather to me all Israel unto Mount Carmel, and the prophets of Baal 450, and the prophets of the groves 400, which eat at Jezebel's table. So Ahab sent unto all the children of Israel, and gathered the prophets together unto Mount Carmel. And Elijah came unto all the people, and said, How long halt you between two opinions?
Right. Choose you, children of Israel, if you're going to serve Yahweh, or you're going to serve that carefully crafted replica of Yahweh. How long halt you between two opinions? Go ahead.
If Yahweh be Elohim, follow him. But if a Baal, then follow him.
Right. Choose you who you're going to serve. Go ahead.
And the people answered him not a word. Then said Elijah unto the people, I, even I only, remain a prophet of Yahweh, but Baal's prophets are 450 men.
Right. So you have to consider something, Israel. It's going to look like, until that end, that we grossly outnumbered. But they are actually grossly outnumbered. For we have Yahweh our Elohim on our side. So don't let their numbers scare you. Go ahead.
Let them therefore give us 2 bullocks, and let them choose 1 bullock for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on the wood, and put no fire under. And I'll dress the other bullock, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. And call you on the name of your gods, and I'll call on the name of Yahweh. And the Elohim that answers by fire, let him be Elohim. And all the people answered and said, It is well spoken. And Elijah...
We've already seen Yahweh answer by fire several times, right? We understand what the purpose of burning the offering all the way up, okay? That is symbolic of Yahweh consuming it, even when the angel. So these certain things are not just some coincidences. This is how Yahweh operates. So they don't understand. They being set up all the way. Go ahead.
And Elias said unto the prophets of Baal, Choose you one bullock for yourselves, and dress it first, for you are many, and call on the name of your gods, but put no fire under. And they took the bullock which was given them, and they dressed it, and called on the name of Baal from morning even until noon, saying, O Baal, hear us.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Oh, come on, Lord. Oh Lord, Jesus. Lord. Right. There's power in the name. Power. Right. Go ahead.
But there was no voice, nor any that answered. And they leapt upon the altar which was made. And it came to pass at noon that Eliah mocked them, and said, Cry aloud, for he's a god. Either he's talking, or he's pursuing, or he's in a journey, or peradventure he sleeps and must be wakened.
Right. So now he mocking them. My God gonna whoop your God tail. My God's stronger than your God. I say it all the time. My God gonna whoop your God. Because they don't know they God Lucifer. My God gonna beat your God. Go ahead.
And they cried aloud, and cut themselves after their manner with knives and lancets, till the blood gushed out upon them.
See, now we on a different level of stupidity. See, because now they can't get their God to answer. So now they finna make some blood sacrifice. They gonna, do they self. They gonna cut they self. But if you look, there's places where those people, they have video of these people who go around and they tell you that they doing that unto Yahshua. It's in like South America or somewhere where they just go and they be whooping themselves with the things and making themselves bleed. And they telling you they doing it for Christ. Lie. This is an old custom that they were doing before the Mashiach. Go ahead, bro. I don't know what they call it. I call it lodulation. I don't know what they call it. I don't know what they call it, but I know it's a lie. I can tell you that. See? Go ahead, bro. Uh-huh. Right. What they believed already. And then they take the things that they believed already and push it into our doctrine. And then, for you know it, we walking into it and we think that this was something that was set up in righteousness. No, this is some of their old mess. And they just pushed it right along and merged it right in. Now you got people thinking that they holy, beating the blood out of themselves. Walking down the street, whooping their own back. Now, you crazy. If I get a whooping, I didn't do it to myself. You can believe that. Suck got a whooping. Well, who whooped him? Suck did. No, bro, they lied to you. They lied to you. Anybody told you Sock whoop Sock? They lied to you. I didn't whoop me. Somebody else whooped me. Go ahead, bro.
1 Kings chapter 18 and verse 29. And it came to pass, when midday was past, and they prophesied until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that there was neither voice, nor any to answer, nor any that regarded.
Okay, pay attention. And it came to pass when midday was past, and they prophesied until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice. Okay, they had a morning oblation and an evening oblation. He's setting them up. See, this is the time when the things were already offered unto Yahweh anyway. So he's already setting his part up so that Yahweh does answer, but he's setting them up because he already know that they can't do that. Go ahead.
And Elias said unto all the people, Come near unto me. And all the people came near unto him. And he repaired the altar of Yahweh that was broken down. And Eliah took 12 stones.
I'm sorry, how many stones?
12.
What that church we were talking about the other day? That
12 stones.
that little franchise they got out there by you?
12
The
stones.
12 Stone Church.
Right. What said that logo was?
Only one matters.
12 stones, but only
Only
one matters. Right. So they trying to meet that 12 stones of the children of Israel, but they said only one matter. That's supposed to be Yahshua, the chief cornerstone. So these are people that are subconsciously telling you, oh, we throw away that whole thing of Israel. Y'all thrown away. Y'all ain't holy no more. And we don't even read in between the lines. They throwing away your priesthood, and we out there agreeing with them.
Oh, Lord.
Right. Read, bro.
And Eliah took 12 stones, according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob,
Uh-huh.
unto whom the word of Yahweh came.
Right. So he tells you what the 12 stones mean. And that little thing that you read to me, what it says their logo was about, or they, I ain't gonna say what you said. What did they say the reason for their 12 stones was?
They were saying it was symbolic of the 12 times it was used, or where they pinpointed specific events using 12 in
Lie.
Scripture.
Lie. Bald-faced, flat-footed, pigeon-toed lie. Go ahead.
Saying, Israel shall be your name. And with the stones he built an altar in the name of Yahweh, and he made a trench about the altar, as great as would contain 2 measures of seed. And he put the wood in order, and cut the bullock in pieces, and laid him on the wood, and said, Fill 4 barrels with water, and pour it on the burnt sacrifice and on the wood. And he said, Do it the second time. And they did it the second time. And he said, Do it the third time. And they did it the third time. And the water ran about the altar, and he filled the trench also with water. And it came to pass at the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice that Eliah the prophet came near, and said, Yahweh Elohim of Abraham, Esaac, and of Israel, let it be known this day that you are Elohim in Israel, and that I am your servant, and that I have done all these things at your word.
But the timing is already set for the time that these things are supposed to happen symbolically anyway, with them completely burning the offering. So he's doing his part at the time of the evening sacrifice. See, you got to understand these parts, so you miss why he's doing his portion at this time. So he tell them, now y'all go first. See, my turn ain't going to come until the time that we're supposed to offer up an offering unto Yahweh anyway. So y'all go ahead. Then I'm going to offer up my prayer unto Yahweh, my Elohim. See, he ain't just doing stuff just to be doing stuff. See, you got to know enough to even get to the point where you can call upon Yahweh. You got to know what times you are more likely to be heard. Go ahead.
Hear me, O Yahweh, hear me, that this people may know that you are Yahweh Elohim, and that you have turned their heart back again. Then the fire of Yahweh fell, and consumed the burnt sacrifice, and the wood, and the stones, and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench. And when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces, and they said, Yahweh, he is the Elohim. Yahweh, he is the Elohim. And Eliah said unto them, Take the prophets of Baal, let not one of them escape. And they took them, and Eliah brought them down to the brook Kishon, and slew them there.
Right. So then we understand in doing this that in each part of this, he is leading this to fit what Yahweh already has set up. So even though he's getting to a point where, yes, it's going to be a miraculous thing, he's still doing it according to Yahweh's word. He's leading them toward the evening oblation. So he's still following the correct spirit and doing all of those things, not just grabbing something to pull a rabbit out of a hat. So we have to consider that every spirit comes not forth from Elohim. We have to try the spirits to see what they are. See where and how we are receiving our direction and make sure that it coincides with what's written in this book. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.